Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. This video is going to be the top 10 most expensive Copper Age books. Now, if you're not familiar with the Copper Age, it is the time period from early 80s to the end of the 80s. And it had like some pretty major keys. Some major characters came out during that time period. And this list is really just a listing of those major new characters that came out during the 80s. So the first that's on the list is actually a character that made her appearance in the Silver Age. And that character, ranking in number 10 on the list of the top 10 highest Copper Age keys, is Vampirella number 113. Now, Vampirella 113 is a bit of a special issue because it's not originally it's a magazine, first of all, and it's special because it's not it's kind of in between magazine and comic. What happened was the company that produced Vampirella, they would make magazines from the 1969 all the way up to the early 80s, and they went out of business. And another company called Harris basically came out with a magazine, sort of to continue it on, and it didn't really work. It got mostly returned, and that's why it's such a rare issue, because most of them got returned, most of them got destroyed, and they decided the magazine format wasn't going to work, and then they decided to put Vampirella as a comic. And the rest is history. It's a very popular comic now, but originally Vampirella was in a magazine format. So this is Vampirella 113, a very rare comic, and it had a record sale at a 9.8 at $4,000. So that's number 10 on the list. Number 9 on the list is a character that you might recognize, Spider-Man. This is not Venom, but this is where the symbiote is first introduced, and it is Amazing Spider-Man number 252, and it's kind of like an homage cover of Amazing Fantasy and number 15, and it had a record sale of $6,000. This is a 1984 book, so $6,000 was its record sale. So number 8 on the list is one I don't have, so I'm going to over, and it's Gobbledygook number 1. Now, Gobbledygook number 1 was basically a book that was kind of, it was really just a photocopy that they would create, and they just wanted it to sort of, put out their characters, and it was created by Eastman, and it showcased a very important character named the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Well, it's a bunch of characters. So this is where the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles made their first appearance, and it was a very small, minor appearance in Gobbledygook number 1, but because it is truly their first appearance, a lot of collectors seek this book out, and it's a very rare book. Really hard to find a genuine copy of it because there's just so many forgeries out there. Came out in 1984, and it sold at record sale for $6,000. Okay, so the next one on the list, go back to me, and next one on the list in the number 7 spot is none other than Deadpool. Deadpool's first appearance in New Mutants 98. And it had a record sale of $7,500. Now, this is a very end of the Copper Age. It's barely a Copper Age book, so it's 1991, so it's kind of at the very end of the Copper Age. Really, it's one of those questionable ones, whether it's truly a Copper Age book, but I would consider it a Copper Age book. It's just the very end of the Copper Age. Now, as I said, it had a record sale of 7,500 for 9.8. Very, very popular book, and Deadpool continues to be a very popular character. This book continues to go up in value, so it's a very good book to have. The next one on the list is another popular character, and again, you'll see how these popular characters sort of dominate the 80s, and that was Venom. Amazing Spider-Man number 300, the first appearance of Venom, full appearance. He actually made his cameo appearance in 299, but he made his full appearance in 300. And this book is just really jumping up in price, especially because there's going to be another Venom movie, and the previous Venom movie did really well. So it had a record sale in a 9.8 at $12,000. So that makes it number 6 on the list. Number 5 on the list is another popular character that made his debut in the Bronze Age, but he didn't really have his first series until the Copper Age. And that is Wolverine. This is a very famous cover. Him sort of, asking for some action. And this is his first limited series. And he had a record sale for this 1982 book at $14,000. So that was for another high grade one, 9.8. So yeah, so Wolverine Limited Series number 1 from 1982 in the number 5 spot. In the number 4 spot, another Wolverine book. And this was his first mini-series. That was his limited series, the one I just did. But this is his first, so it was like actual series of comics bearing his name at the title. And this was also the first appearance of Patch. Okay, so first appearance as well. And a really, really high grade, sold for like a 10.0, which is really rare, of this comic sold for $17,000. So even though this is a later than the limited series, and probably not as rare, but just that fact that it was a 10.0 sold for $17,000. So that's number 4 on the list. Now number 3 on the list, I don't have that one as well. And it is Albedo number 2. And this is the first appearance of Yojimbo, and just a really rare comic. There is some rumors that there's going to be a TV series, like an animated series about Yojimbo. Just a really hard comic to find. And this was from 1984, and it had a record sale of $31,000. And I think that was like a signed copy. I think it was just a really, it was a pretty nice copy. So 31,000 just really jumps the list up to that next level. So the last two on the list, switch back to me again, is Secret Wars number 8, again with the Venom / symbiote costume. And this was the first encounter with the symbiote. This is Secret Wars number 8 from 1984. And this book in a 10.0, another really high grade, really rare version of this book. It's sold for $32,250. So if you had that really, really high grade, check your boxes. Maybe you have that. You can maybe get $30,000 for it. So not a really rare book. I actually see this book all the time, but just in that super high grade, it commanded some pretty big numbers. So that put it number 2 on the list. And number 1 on the list, and this book to me defined the Copper Age. And it's one that you probably will already guess, but I'm going to show it anyways. And that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 in the first print. Now there's many prints of this book, but this book in the first print is extremely rare. And it's the first appearance of, first comic appearance of the Turtles, and it's just a really rare book. It's from 1984, and it had a record sale of $90,000. So just blows away all the other competition in terms of being in the top 10 list. It's just a really great book to find. If you have it, treasure it because it's a great book. So that has been the top 10 most expensive Bronze Age books. Now, a lot of these books you can still get in probably like lower grades fairly affordably. So this is one of the easier lists that I've done because the Golden Age, the Silver Age, even the Bronze Age, really expensive, but the Copper Age is getting a little bit more affordable in the lower grades. Like these still are crazy expensive books, but you can still pick them up in a lower grade, probably fairly affordably. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I have one more video after this, which will be the Modern Age and the top 10 books coming from the Modern Age. Please comment below which books you're interested in and which books you thought might have made the list but didn't. So thanks for watching. Bye.